Hello everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. This is emergency live stream coverage talking about ice storm across the middle of the country from the Midwest in through the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley here this evening. There's a lot to get to. We're going to talk about ice accumulations, heavy rainfall on the warm side of the storm that could be producing some significant flooding, and also more across the long range forecast moving into the end of January and early February. But primarily, we're going to be talking about the ice storm here. So let's dive right into the details. Dive right into the details here. All right, so looking here at the storm right now as we see it, we have a bunch of moisture moving across portions of the southern U.S. as we go over the next couple of hours here. We're seeing a lot of moisture moving up from the western Gulf of Mexico. That's lifting north there across portions of East Texas, Oklahoma there into Arkansas, Louisiana, and southern Missouri. This is going to be all rain, and you can see going through the rest of this afternoon and evening, you see a lot of that rainfall training over the same areas here. And we could even be seeing all rain up into the St. Louis region. Notice the pinks up here across portions of central and eastern Illinois, getting into northwestern Indiana, and even some freezing drizzle starting into southeastern lower Michigan. That is our freezing potential for ice storm as we go into later tonight and into your Tuesday morning. As we move it further along, this is getting into your mid-evening hours here. Notice that rain shield begins to move further to the north. We have that warm and moist air from the Gulf of Mexico lifting further north, and then that will turn into more of that freezing precipitation with freezing rain, freezing drizzle, and sleet, and even some snow showers mixing in at times across this region here from northern Missouri, northeast Kansas, through portions of Iowa, north central Illinois, getting into Indiana there. That will transfer over into Ohio and even into Michigan as well. So we're certainly seeing some frozen precipitation further north. As we go into the mid-evening hours, that gets even more widespread as we see the cooler temperatures as we go deeper into the night. This is midnight time frame. We're starting to see that ice, rain, and snow up here across the Ohio Valley into the Midwest. Notice the ice shield is pretty thick here across northern portions of Indiana, northern and northeast Illinois there through Ohio and southeastern Michigan at this time. And then as we go deeper yet into the night, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. And notice the ice shield kind of maximizing here across the northern Ohio Valley, portions there of northern Indiana, much of north central Ohio, even some ice moving its way over there toward Erie, Pennsylvania, and northwestern PA, much of southern lower Michigan. This could include the Grand Rapids region, Lansing, and getting into the Detroit metro area. This could be including places like Chicago, getting in towards Kankakee, Illinois, and Rockford, Illinois, as well as we go into that 3-4 o'clock in the morning time frame. Further south from there, it's mostly all liquid precipitation with the rain. So St. Louis, Paducah, Kentucky, Evansville, and even to some degree the Indianapolis metro area will be mostly rain, all liquid precipitation as we go in towards that 4 o'clock in the morning time frame. Now moving along to your Tuesday morning commute. Now this is important. You can see here as we go into your Tuesday morning commute, this is 6 o'clock in the morning as you're getting ready for work or school out there. We do have that frozen precipitation flying in a lot of different forms here. We have snow to the north with the blue colors here across Iowa, far northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin, and then southern and central lower Michigan. That will transfer over there toward the Toronto region and into portions of western New York. And then further south from there, we have that shallow warm layer aloft in the atmosphere, which means our surface temperatures are below freezing, but just a few thousand feet above our heads, we have that warm nose aloft in the atmosphere with that warmer air moving in from the Gulf of Mexico. So that means our precipitation will be falling either as freezing rain, freezing drizzle, or sleet out there. And those are your ice pellets and freezing rain that we have to keep an eye on. That's where we could be seeing potentially that accumulating ice across northern Illinois, going through northern Indiana there into portions of Ohio. That will transfer over there into Pennsylvania and some degree of southern lower Michigan, seeing that ice for your Tuesday morning commute out there. So it could be a rough commute as we go across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley there, especially the southern Great Lakes, and getting into interior New England as we get in toward your Tuesday morning commute. Going into around the midday hours of Tuesday, okay? This is 12, 1 o'clock. Notice we're still seeing precipitation, but notice the freezing line trying to move further north there, and you can see more rainfall overspreading the Ohio Valley, getting into Illinois, and then we have more of that snowfall trying to fall where that cold air is strong enough from the upper levels of the atmosphere all the way down to the surface. We're going to see snowflakes with this system across central Michigan, southern Wisconsin, into central Iowa. So Des Moines, Dubuque, Iowa, Madison up there toward Milwaukee, and getting over toward Grand Rapids, maybe even Detroit, at least especially north of Detroit there. As we go toward midday on your Tuesday, we'll likely be seeing some snowfall out there. And then as we go deeper into the day, you can see we start to get rid of that precipitation from west to east out there. But look to the south. We have some very heavy rain on the warm side of this system here, and you can see that's just going to come in rounds as we go over the next couple of days. And let's take a look at the rainfall before we start putting those ice accumulations up for you folks to know here in just a minute. Look at, we have one round of rain as we go through tonight. That'll move up across portions of the mid-Mississippi Valley. We have a little break and then another potent round of very heavy rain and flash flooding potential going through your Tuesday night time frame. And then a third round, and this is concerning. Look at all the rainfall training over the same area here from Tennessee down through Mississippi, Louisiana, and coastal Texas. Very, very heavy rain here, and that's just going to move over the same area really over the next couple of days, all the way through midweek on Wednesday. So some very, very heavy rainfall. But let's look at the ice accumulations with this right now, and to show you how much ice that you can expect as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Let's take this all the way to Wednesday at 18Z. And let's zoom it in as well. So let's zoom in here toward the central U.S. Here's some of the ice accumulations. These are earlier estimates here. You can see we do have around 1/4 of an inch to locally 1/2 inch of ice in some of these areas that will be possible as we go through your Tuesday morning commute. So definitely seeing some very heavy icing up here across portions of the Ohio Valley. This could be the most impactful across southern lower Michigan, getting across western Ohio into portions of Indiana here, especially north of Indianapolis and toward the Fort Wayne region, South Bend and Gary, Indiana near the lake, and then getting into eastern and northern Illinois. We start to see more of that here toward the Champaign-Urbana region. That will transfer north into Kankakee, into the Chicagoland area, Chicago western suburbs as well, and then up toward Rockford, Illinois here. It doesn't show much accumulation of ice here, but I promise you we'll probably be seeing up to 1/4 inch of ice for the Rockford region. And then further west into the Central Plains, there's some threat of at least 1/10 of an inch or so of ice all the way back there into Omaha, Des Moines, into the Kansas City region, even Wichita as we go over the next 24 to 48 hours. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Let's look across the lakes, because not only is this area impacted, but notice across the lakes as well, further east and towards northeastern Ohio, around 1/10 of an inch of ice with this here. Erie, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh, definitely seeing around a few hundredths to 1/10 of an inch of ice possible. This could transfer further east into northern and northeastern Pennsylvania, getting into New York State there. Probably by this time, we're not going to be seeing a lot of accumulating ice across portions of New England, but just enough to make travel treacherous out there, as we could be seeing more of those slick roadways with just a few tenths to up to 1/10 of an inch, or a few hundredths rather, up to 1/10 of an inch of ice as we go through that Tuesday and Wednesday commute time. So definitely seeing that going forward, and a lot of ice out here, folks. This is probably one of the bigger ice storms we've seen in about a year or two. So especially back across the Midwest through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and southern lower Michigan, probably one of the bigger ice events we have seen in about 1 or 2 winters. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go into your Tuesday and Wednesday time frame. So does anybody have any questions regarding the ice accumulations? We can go over that for your area. But thanks everybody for joining. I do appreciate it. If you are joining, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so we can keep you covered here 24/7 around the clock on your weather forecast. I will be putting a video out tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and likely an afternoon update as well. So make sure that you are stay tuned for that. So subscribe to the channel and like the live stream. I definitely appreciate that. Look at that. We got over 200 people in here. I appreciate it. Let's see who's in here. Thanks, Tim, for joining. And also, we do have a poll up right now. It says, "What would you consider a crippling ice event?" Vote below, and you can vote for a glaze of ice, quarter to half inch, a half inch to 3/4, and more than 3/4 of an inch of ice here. And it looks like most people right now winning out is a quarter to a half an inch of ice, and actually just tied. So it looks like it keeps going back and forth, but it just tied between a glaze of ice and a quarter to half inch of ice that you would consider a crippling ice event. So make sure to keep voting on that. We'll end the poll here soon and see what the final result is. All right, I see people putting their areas in here, and that's what we like. So let's go to look at some of these areas. Be patient with me here on the live stream. I'm going to be answering as many questions as I possibly can. People are putting their zip codes in here and their town names. So definitely that helps out more than you know. So I'm going to keep going through here and looking at people's zip codes. And if you have zip codes, put them in for me, and I will get you your information and how much ice you can expect as we go over the next few days. And again, the ice is going to be more prevalent from the Central Plains into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and New England. So if you live in like California, we're not talking about ice over there. So obviously, if you're from California and you put your zip code in there, I'm probably not going to mention you very much here in this live stream, just on the merit that they're not going to see really any ice over there in California from this event. So. All right, so let me look up the first zip code here. I'm looking up 43457 right now to see where we are looking at here. This is in Ohio, so Rising Sun, Ohio here. Looks like we're talking about areas in northwestern Ohio. So if you live in northwest Ohio, yes, up to a quarter of an inch of ice looks to be likely here. So if you live in the Toledo region, back west there of Columbus, especially there into western and northwestern Ohio, we're talking about up to a quarter of an inch of ice through your Tuesday and even Wednesday morning commutes. So make sure to take it slow out on those roadways. So yes, up to a quarter of an inch of ice in those areas. Yeah, keep putting your zip codes in there, folks. I'll keep answering as many of these questions about your area as possible. That's why we're live here today. If you have any questions, even with the heavy rain side of the system, trust me, I'll get to you guys as well later on in the live stream, so I appreciate it. All right, next, looks like somebody, Aaron, the zero says, what about Xenia, Ohio? Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I don't like to butcher names on here. Okay, so yeah, same thing there across that region. I think up to a quarter of an inch of ice or so is a good bet for you there in the Xenia, Ohio area. Hopefully, again, I'm saying that correctly. We're talking about up to a quarter of an inch of ice there in western Ohio. So hopefully that answers your question about that as well. Again, keep pressing that like button, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We have a new weather forecast coming out daily. We're going to have another one tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. All right, so the next one I see is Glenn Griffin has 34668. So let's see here, 34668. All right, here I'm having trouble with my my Google Chrome real quick just here. Let me see if I could redo this here real quick. 34668. All right. Well, you're in Florida. You're in Port Richey, so you're not seeing any ice. So we're not going to worry about that one. So thank you for joining at least. We're not seeing any ice down there in Northwest Florida. Jimmy 43228. All right. We're in Ohio again here in Franklin County. Yes, you're around the Columbus region. I expect around 1/10 of an inch, possibly isolated up to 1/4 of an inch of ice there into the Columbus, Ohio region. So that's what we see there as we go through, especially your Tuesday morning commute. But it looks like potentially up to 1/4 of an inch of ice, worst case scenario, but more likely around 1/10 of an inch of ice with that storm system. All right. Local Syracuse weather is saying won't be ice, but maybe a coating of snow. Yeah, Syracuse, you might see around a coating of snow. There may be a very thin glaze of ice up here across portions of New York State. But right now, we're not seeing anything significant. Further east you go, like into northern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, New York State, and further deeper into like the northeast of New England, we're just likely not seeing that much ice. There could be enough to disrupt travel as we go through midweek, through your Wednesday time frame, but we're likely not seeing anything super significant from this whatsoever. And even with the snowfall out there, like if I go to the snowfall real quick here, let's see, 10-to-1 ratio probably with this because of the warm air. So you can see we may be talking about areas there in towards Syracuse, maybe up to a coating, an inch of snow, worst case scenario here. So if you're in like New York State, we could be talking about easily an inch of snow potentially as we go through that time frame. So yeah, that's what we're seeing. And then northern Pennsylvania, there could be a light area of maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow, and then that could extend back into like Michigan here. We could be seeing Grand Rapids, Lansing, Kalamazoo, the Detroit region, Toronto, even into Canada, about 1 to 3 inches of snow with this event. Most of this will be Tuesday into Tuesday night, and then even a thin area or narrow area of snow of around an inch or two up here into portions of far northern Illinois, up toward Rockford, up toward Freeport there, the northern suburbs of Chicago, southern Wisconsin there, so from Prairie du Chien to Madison to Milwaukee, those areas into Kenosha, Wisconsin, into Racine, and then back into eastern portions of Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Dubuque, even Des Moines, maybe up to an inch or two of snow with this. So not that big of a deal with the snowfall. It's going to be the ice threat that's going to be significant. Auburn Hills, Michigan, Kim says. So let's promise you guys, I'm trying to get to everybody's here. I'm trying to give you valuable information, so hang with me. Auburn Hills. I appreciate you guys being patient here. Yeah, you're northwest of Detroit, so yeah, a couple of inches of snow will be possible. I would expect 1 to 3 inches of snow with this system there in the Auburn Hills region. And then looking at the ice accumulation, around 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice. So just under a 1/4 inch, but you have 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice with 1 to 3 inches of snow that actually would make travel pretty treacherous out here for your Tuesday morning and likely your Tuesday evening commute. So definitely 2 times of the commute times there, Tuesday morning and Tuesday evening there in the Auburn Hills region and even into the Detroit area where we could be talking about some very treacherous travel. So make sure you're staying safe there, Kim, out on those roadways if you have work or something like that or errands to run. Make sure that if you have errands to run, just postpone them maybe to Wednesday if you can or later in the week. But right now, Tuesday's looking pretty impactful there. 1 to 2/10 of an inch of ice and 1 to 3 inches of snow for you. All right, so let's get to, okay, we got a lot of zip codes coming in. And try not to spam the chat. I see James in here putting it in about 18 times, so I appreciate you putting your zip code in there. But I'm trying not to spam it, please. Thank you. 6404. All right, so James, you are in the northeast Illinois, just southwest of Chicago. Yes, 1/4 of an inch of ice is a concern here. We have a concern of up to around 1/4 of an inch of ice here in toward the Chicagoland area. And let me see if I can get a better. So you're in northeast Illinois here. So yeah, around 1/4 of an inch of ice is likely as we go through tonight and into your Tuesday morning commute there. So that will certainly cause for some treacherous travel. Snowfall there, just mainly north of your area. So you're mainly just looking at ice there across portions of like Joliet, Illinois, Naperville, Aurora, those western suburbs there of Chicago. So mainly ice. The snowfall should be closer to the Illinois-Wisconsin state line, but mostly around 1/4 of an inch of ice for you. All right. Got that one done. So let's keep going here. So James, hopefully that answers your question. I see 49444. 49444. That is in western lower Michigan. Yes, you got some chances of ice there. I think you're more in snowfall there. So let's look at the snowfall first for western lower Michigan here. And you can see a couple inches of snow will be likely there for western lower Michigan. 1 to 3 inches can be expected as we go through Tuesday and into Wednesday. And with the ice threat out there, it's looking like we're seeing the heaviest icing to your south. So you're going to be kind of wavering back and forth between the freezing rain and drizzle and also the snowfall. It's likely you're going to see a lot more snow than ice, so that's good news. Ice is never fun, but 1 to 3 inches of snow there for western lower Michigan there, and also looking at primarily maybe 1/100th of an inch of ice at most, so just enough to make travel slick out there. And even 1 to 3 inches of snow can make travel slick, so we just got to make sure we stay safe out there on those roadways. If you guys are just joining me here on the live stream, we're going over our dangerous ice storm coverage here. We got an ice storm on the way. If you are tuning in, we have 258 people watching. I would love if you guys would all press that like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate it. And also put your zip code down into the chat if you haven't already. If you have not put your zip code in there, put it in there. Don't put it in there too many times because it just kind of clutters up the chat. I'm trying to get to everybody's here. All right, Kelly Clark, 48083. 48083 here. Yes, you're into the Detroit area there, just north of Detroit. Yes, we're looking at around 1/10 of an inch of ice for you across northwestern areas there of Detroit. And we're also looking at around 1 to 3 inches of snow for you there north and west of Detroit. So watch out for those travel impacts, especially Tuesday morning and the Tuesday evening commute as we go through tomorrow is going to be pretty treacherous and hazardous out there. Take it slow on those roadways. And if you can work from home, definitely a lot better as we go into the Detroit area tomorrow with 1 to 3 inches of snow and about 1/10 of an inch of ice. All right, let's go to Big Chris here, 60901. 60901. Okay, you're in the Kankakee area. Thanks for joining from Kankakee. We were just talking about the Kankakee earlier. Yeah, so Kankakee, you are seeing snowfall to your north, so primarily not much snow for you. Looking at some sleet out there, maybe a little bit of sleet there for Kankakee, but I think the freezing rain threat, we could be seeing up to 1/4 of an inch of ice for the Kankakee area. You're kind of in that bullseye for the highest ice accumulation with this storm. I wouldn't be surprised if you overachieved and saw maybe up to 1/2 an inch of ice with this. So watch out for that. But likely probably 1/4 of an inch of ice is coming as we go through tonight. So your Tuesday morning commute and likely your Tuesday evening commute are going to be impacted there, especially into the Kankakee, Illinois region. All right, we did James already. Let's go down to Seal here. Howard County, let's see here, 46979. 46979. Let's see here what we got. All right, we got western portions of Indiana, or central Indiana, north of Indianapolis. Yes, we are talking about 1/4 of an inch of ice for you. So definitely another area where you're kind of in the bullseye there, north of Indianapolis. So north central portions of Indiana there. Out of the city of Indianapolis, we're talking about 1/4 of an inch of ice. Snowfall prospects for you, it looks like we're going to see that mainly well to the north. So Indiana and overall in Ohio and most of Illinois there, we're really not seeing a lot of snow. That's mainly up to the north there. So just ice for you, and up to around 1/4 of an inch can be expected through tonight. So your Tuesday morning and your Tuesday evening commute will be impacted. All right, let's keep going down the list here. Yeah, absolutely, Jimmy. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Again, if you guys are just tuning in here, put your zip codes down in the chat. We'll get to your zip codes as fast as we can. I'm going down the list here and going through zip codes and showing you how much ice and snow and everything you can expect here. So I appreciate everybody joining. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below. It's a good way to get my daily weather forecast videos. We put out detailed weather content each and every day, all the way through 2024 and beyond, so I appreciate that. Also, like the live stream below, everybody. I appreciate it. We also have a poll question, kind of updating you. We see 273 votes on there, and right now winning is 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of ice, is a crippling ice to most people. So that's winning. Very close is a glaze of ice, though. All right, let's go down here to Jake Boy at 44060. 44060. All right, so a different area that we haven't talked about much here so far this afternoon and evening. This is north and east of Cleveland. This is in far northeastern Ohio here. We're talking about not as much ice as back into Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan, but still a tenth of an inch of ice there into northeastern Ohio. So we're talking about a tenth of an inch of ice, and looking at snowfall, we could be seeing a coating to maybe an inch of snow here very close by. So looks like a little bit of snow for you, but mostly ice. So definitely seeing a messy commute there, especially for your Tuesday evening commute. I think Tuesday evening is going to be the most impacted across northeastern Ohio there. So make sure if you live in northeast Ohio, we could be seeing a tenth of an inch there of ice, and we could also be seeing a coating to up to an inch of snow as well. And let me look at the sleet real quick for your area. Yeah, we could be seeing some sleet mixing in. A half an inch of sleet will be possible in northeastern Ohio. All right, let's go down here. Haley baby says North Indiana. Yes, northern Indiana. You're in the bullseye there. Up to a quarter of an inch. Isolated half-inch amounts of ice will be possible there into the Fort Wayne area, into South Bend, in the Gary, Indiana area. This is mainly north of Indianapolis. So all of northern Indiana is going to be impacted by some pretty significant ice accumulations going through tonight and tomorrow. So your Tuesday morning commute will be the most impacted here, and then that could linger into your Tuesday evening commute across northern portions of Indiana. So a quarter of an inch most likely, a half an inch of ice is still possible there across northern Indiana. All right, let's go down to Tahiti here, 60475. 60475. All right, we're back over here towards Chicagoland. We're just into the southern suburbs. Looks like Chicago Heights area here. Yes, a quarter inch of ice is likely there for the southern suburbs of Chicago. South of the city is where the highest ice accumulations will be. North and west of the city, that's where the higher snowfall will be. So in your area there in Chicago Heights, we'll likely be talking about a quarter of an inch of ice coming down with this system. And we're also talking about maybe a little bit of some snow, but that'll mainly be to the north. Could see a few flurries there at times, but it's mostly an ice event for the Chicago Heights region. We could be seeing up to a quarter of an inch of ice. Sleet, we could be seeing a little bit of sleet mixing in as well. So hopefully that answers your question there. Let's keep going down the list here. Let's see here. I'm seeing duplicates, so I'm just kind of skipping over the duplicates. Thanks, Kathy, for joining. Kathy McKay, appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. And Rain Mavs, thanks for joining as well. I'm having chicken for dinner. How about you? I am having goulash for dinner, kind of like spaghetti and stuff like that. All right, let's see. Arnie, thanks for joining. 39705. 39705. Let's get to your zip code here. So you're in Ohio. No, you're in northeastern Mississippi. You're not going to see any ice or any wintry precipitation down there in Mississippi. You are, however, I guess we can go and show you how much rainfall you can see down in your area there in Mississippi. So let's go down and look at that. So if you're in northeast Mississippi, this takes you through your Wednesday afternoon. We could be seeing 1 to 3 inches of rain, and there's actually a moderate risk of flash flooding down across portions of Mississippi and the deep south going into that Wednesday and especially Thursday time frame. And let's kind of go to a different map here and show you how much rainfall you could be. Actually, let's go to the precipitation totals here over the next several days. Here's the area that's going to get really hard hit by the rainfall. Let's go all the way to the end of January here, and you can see that. Look at that. We're talking about widespread 3 to 7 inch totals across this region. So we're definitely seeing some very heavy rain across your area there in Mississippi. So we're going to be talking about a flash flooding threat. So if you have the zip code 39705 in Columbus, Mississippi, we could be talking about at least a half a foot of rain. And this could be conservative as well. Brenda, 43138. 43138. All right. Looks like Brenda, we're back up to the north. So we're south and east of Columbus. So let's go back up here to the north real quick. Sorry, folks, kind of jumping around here with the zip codes. Thank you for your patience in me. I appreciate it. All right, so looking at freezing rain real quick, this takes you through your... I got to get to the right screen here, just a moment. Takes you through your Wednesday time frame here, and I have my insulin pump that keeps beeping at me every 5 seconds, so I apologize. All right, so yeah, we're looking here at just south and east of Columbus, Ohio. We're not looking at any ice with this system. It's mainly going to be rain, the snowfall well to the north. So looking at rainfall prospects here, we could be talking about a decent amount of rain through Wednesday. We could be seeing up to a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. So this is all liquid precipitation for Logan, Ohio. So if you live in Logan, Ohio, and that region, south and east of Columbus, we could be talking about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rain through midweek there. And then going beyond that, we could be talking about some of those rainfall amounts going toward the end of the week. We could be over an inch of rain there in southeastern Ohio, up to around 2 inches. So 1 to 2 inches of rain through the end of the week there. So definitely a healthy amount of rain. And we need the rain across the Ohio Valley. That is for sure. It's been pretty dry lately, so that's good to see the rainfall there. Granny Grump, thanks for joining. What does West Virginia 26764 look like? And thank you for your patience. Absolutely. Thank you for your patience and waiting for me to get to your zip code. I appreciate it. So 26764. We're... looks like up toward the panhandle there into northern West Virginia. It's going to be rain for you. So you're not going to see any wintry precipitation really from this system. You're looking at widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain. So if you're in northern West Virginia, we're talking about all liquid precipitation with this system as we go deeper in towards the week. So probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. And this rainfall could come in different waves as well. So definitely seeing a lot of rainfall for you. So 1 to 3 inches. Fighting Spirit, 46808. Looks like we're talking about Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yes, that's the area that is in the bullseye for the ice threat out there as we go through the next couple of days. Apologize, I have to get to the right screen here. All right, so looking at Fort Wayne, yeah, around 1/4 of an inch of ice is likely here into the Fort Wayne region. So if you live in Fort Wayne, around 1/4 of an inch of ice is likely, possibly an isolated 1/2 an inch of ice in a spot or two there across northern and northeastern Indiana will be possible, but likely around 1/4 of an inch of ice. And then looking at your sleet potential out there, we could be seeing some sleet, maybe a 1/2 an inch of sleet as well. And then looking at our snowfall, we could be seeing the snowfall further north. So looking like mainly an ice threat for you. Roberta, 45005. 45005. Roberta, you are in the Middletown, Ohio area, just north of Cincinnati there. Yes, we're talking about probably ice, I think. Yeah, you got about maybe a few hundredths to 1/10 of an inch of ice. Not as much as northern Indiana, but we certainly could be seeing some decent icing as we go into portions of western Ohio as we go through the next couple of days. So. I see Linda's comment. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support on the channel. Chris says, how bad will the rain be in Clarksville, Tennessee? Great question. Clarksville, Tennessee, there, northwestern Tennessee. Let's look here. Well, let's just look here right now at the rainfall over the next couple of days first. Let's move this down into... I apologize. A new program for me on here, and it'll take some time. It's taking some getting used to here real quick. I think we can use this one. All right, so there's northwestern Tennessee at the top of your screen. Going through your Wednesday afternoon, Clarksville looks like 1 to 2 inches of rain is likely just through your Wednesday afternoon. So from now through Wednesday afternoon midweek, around noon, 1 o'clock, we could be seeing 1 to 2 inches of rain. And then going through, it looks like the next week or so, we could easily be seeing about a 3-inch rain for you. So it looks like about 3 inches of rain. The heaviest amounts will be east of Nashville. So Crossville into Knoxville, the Cumberland Plateau, and then down there towards Chattanooga. We could be seeing rainfall amounts exceeding 4 to 5 inches in those areas in eastern Tennessee. But for Clarksville in particular, it looks like 1 to 3 inches of rain over the next week for you is most likely. Yeah, you're welcome, Chris. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Is there a dangerous ice storm in Michigan? Yes, we've been talking about it for a while. Yes, southern lower Michigan, we could be seeing potentially a 1/4 of an inch of ice for some areas. So let me go. What am I doing here? Let's see. Okay, I got to go back to the north. So let's look at Michigan because we're bouncing around. I apologize. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of different questions on here, so we're going to get to everybody's questions. Southern lower Michigan, we're talking up to a 1/4 of an inch, especially the closer you get to the Indiana-Michigan state line and the Ohio and Michigan state line there. That's the most... we're seeing the most icing there. The further north you go in Michigan, into like northern lower Michigan or the UP of Michigan, we're likely not seeing any ice at all. It's going to be all snow, or you just won't see much precipitation altogether. No, you're not spamming. Nightbot, Missy Nightbot blocked your comment. I didn't block your comment personally. Some of your comments are getting blocked for just other reasons. The Nightbot just sees it. I see your comment there, Missy. It looks like you said, how much ice in Portland, Indiana? You're south of Fort Wayne. Looks like about a 1/4 of an inch for you. So it looks like a 1/4 of an inch of ice there into the Fort Wayne region, into your area there, into Portland, Indiana. So watch out for those treacherous roads. The snowfall will be further to your north, so we're not looking really at any snowfall for you. It's mainly going to be an ice threat. Yeah, there we go. There's the most updated. So this just updated, folks. Yeah, there could be some areas there in eastern Illinois and west central Indiana getting up to 3/4 of an inch of ice as we go through the Tuesday morning commute and Tuesday evening commute there. So watch out for that. Will a tenth of an inch shut down the morning commute, close schools, delays? Anyone have thoughts? Yeah, most likely probably having some at least school delays, but probably some cancellations with ice amounts of like a 1/4 to half an inch here in some of these areas for sure. Brandon Moore, thanks for joining. 47,327. 47,327. All right, you're into the Cambridge City, Indiana region. All right, so looks like around, you're not going to see as much ice as further north into northern Indiana, but we're seeing around a few hundredths of an inch to up to a 1/10 of an inch of ice. So yes, up to a 1/10 of an inch of ice is possible for you there. The snowfall will be well to your north. Yeah, Missy, definitely. Yeah, that ice there into northeastern Indiana, Missy, is going to be pretty decent. You could be seeing up to a 1/4 of an inch of ice. Some of those tree limbs kind of starting to get some weight to them. Power lines getting some weight to them, and those treacherous roadways, sidewalks, driveways, definitely very slippery. Those stairs as well. Bridges, overpasses, everything's going to be pretty icy as we go into your Tuesday morning commute. 48,183. 48,183. So we are in the Detroit region. Yeah, up to a 1/4 of an inch of ice there, just south of Detroit. So yeah, if you're living just south of Detroit there, with the zip code 48,183 into the Woodhaven, Michigan region, yes, we're talking around a 1/4 of an inch of ice through your Tuesday morning and Tuesday evening commute. Snowfall as well. We could be seeing one of those areas where we could see up to around an inch or two of snow. So not only that area we see ice, but also some snow. So actually kind of a dual threat there of some precipitation. All right. Frank says, what about Southwest Ohio? 45,042. So that takes us into the Middletown area. Yeah, we covered Middletown already. It looks like a a decent amount of ice there. We could be seeing potentially a 100th of an inch to up to a 10th of an inch, worst case scenario. So again, not as much ice as like northern Indiana and southern lower Michigan and northwest Ohio. Less ice. You'll probably be seeing more rain than anything else. So just a little bit of ice, but mostly rain. Yeah, you're welcome, Brandon. Thanks for joining. Good evening, One Nation Weather. Good evening, Weather on the Go. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Thanks for joining. How are you doing? Appreciate it. What's it look like for Minnesota? If yeah, you can ask, Dave. Yeah, Minnesota, you're really not going to see anything from this system too much. We're mainly going to be just seeing maybe some snow into southern portions of Minnesota. Maybe some snow, but the system overall is going to miss you to the east there in Minnesota. All right, let's see here. Donna, 10990. You are in Warwick, New York. Cool name there. Just north of New York City. We haven't covered this area yet. Let's look at this real quick. Yeah, we're through your Tuesday. Let's go back to the old model run because it goes farther out here real quick. It's still pretty accurate data though. Yeah, north of New York City, maybe a little bit of ice, like a trace of ice at most. So really not that big of a deal. This goes through Wednesday. Looking at snowfall. Snowfall is going to be a little bit more, maybe up to an inch of snow there in the Warwick, New York region. Other than that, we're really just not seeing much of precipitation. Sleet, we can look at that. We could be seeing a little bit of sleet, a trace to a half an inch of sleet, worst case scenario. So long story short, looks like a trace of an inch of ice at most, a trace to a half an inch of sleet, and up to an inch of snow there in the Warwick, New York region. Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. We have 14883. I normally don't do lives like this. Usually what I do is I actually go over the weather forecast, much like my other lives earlier in the week talking about this storm. But since a lot of people are going to be impacted by ice, I figured I'd come live and talk about the ice threat, the rain, and some of the snow out there, and kind of get your zip codes and show you how much accumulation you can see from each precipitation type here in the live stream. Yeah, you're welcome, Donna. Thanks for joining. So back to Spencer, New York. That's the one we're looking at here. Southern New York State, yeah, we could be seeing up to a 1/10 of an inch of ice, worst case scenario, but likely just probably a glaze of ice for you into Southern New York State. Looking at the snowfall threat for you as well, looks like potentially a couple of inches of snow. So 1 to 2 inches of snow will be possible. That's probably your most dominant precipitation type will be snow, and then we'll see some ice as well at times into the Spencer, New York region. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. 46135. 46135. Let's see here. Greencastle, Indiana, just west of Indianapolis. We're not seeing snow because here's the snow map, and you see that's well to the north. Sleet is well to the north as well, so we're not too worried about sleet. It's the freezing rain threat we could see. Maybe it's kind of tough to say there. Probably around a glaze of ice up to a 1/4 inch at most. So between a glaze and a 1/4 inch, and it looks like some of that rainfall will try to move in as well. So you're kind of on that line where you could see either a lot of ice or a lot of rain. So a little shift in the storm track will mean a big difference between a 1/4 inch of ice or mostly no ice and all rain. So very close call there. So if you do see the ice, up to a 1/4 of an inch. If you don't, probably about an inch of rain over that. So I'm so nice to talk live about ice. Yes, well, we need to get these people some information about the ice, and that's why I'm live here, giving you guys as much information as possible. Thank you, Arnie. I appreciate it. Yeah, it'll be the same, Roberta, as the Middletown area. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, your ice accumulations that I mentioned for that area is the same. Brenda, 43138. I'm pretty sure I already said this, but I'll go over it again. You may not have been with me earlier. But yeah, Logan, Ohio region, we're talking about mostly rain for your area. So we're talking about mostly rain, not much ice. So that's some good news. We're seeing through Wednesday around a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch there of rain. And likely more rain after that later in the week and into the weekend. Absolutely, Herb. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? I'm in southern Ontario, Canada. We get whatever Detroit gets, so what will they get? Yeah, looks like right now mostly snow for your area there in southeast Canada. So it's going to be just a snowfall potential for you. So it looks like a good 1 to 3 inches of snow is possible for your area there. If you're near Detroit there, but on the side in Canada, if you're in Canada but very close to Detroit, yeah, 1 to 3 inches there of snow. The ice threat there is not going to be as bad, but we still could be seeing maybe a glaze of ice. So a glaze of ice and 1 to 3 inches of snow, that's definitely a little bit treacherous for you. So hopefully I helped with that. Thank you, Lisk, for the donation. Everybody give Lisk a thumbs up in the chat for the donation. I appreciate your generous $5 donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Does anyone have maybe some iced tea? How about that, Linda? Iced tea sounds good. I live in Detroit, and how much sleet could we see in Detroit? Yeah, let's look at the sleet real quick here. Up to an inch of sleet there in Detroit looks like. So ½ inch to an inch of sleet is a good bet for the Detroit region. Thank you, Snowies. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Happy to see you on the stream, Snowies. I'm in southern Ontario too. Yeah, there you go. Southern Ontario. You got a little bit of sleet, a little bit of freezing rain, about a glaze of ice as well. And then we have some snow up there for your area. 1 to 3 inches of snow for you, Snowies, up there into southern Ontario, near the Toronto region. Again, thank you, Lisk. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Renee says, can you tell me for 45693 area up to Batavia, Ohio? Absolutely. Thank you for joining, Renee. Appreciate it. So let's see here. What'd you say on there? 45693. Up to the Batavia region. I got to find that on here real quick. Okay. Yeah, you're seeing all rain with this system. You're not seeing any snow, you're not seeing any sleet, and you're likely not seeing any freezing rain from this very much. Maybe a 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain just north of you. Okay, just north of you. But like I said earlier, if this shifts, 20 miles to the south, it could mean the difference between getting all rain or all ice. So you're kind of on that line as well there into southwestern Ohio. But right now it looks like a little bit of freezing rain and then changing over to rain. So shouldn't be too big of a deal, but just watch out, go slow on those roadways out there. Northern Alabama, 35806. Yeah, we're talking about the Huntsville region. Yeah, you're not going to see any ice from this storm. It's going to be all rain. So let me go back to that map I was just showing you all just a little while ago. Here, let's look at 120 hours in. Let's go all the way down here to the deep south. So this goes all the way through towards the end of January here, and we're seeing northern portions of Alabama. We could be seeing the Huntsville region. The Huntsville region could be seeing 6 inches of rain through the end of this month. So we're definitely seeing that heavy rain. This could lead to flash flooding. There's a slight and a moderate risk for flash flooding, which means numerous flash floods will be possible there from northern portions of Alabama down through the Jackson, Mississippi region into central Mississippi, and then especially there into Louisiana around the Baton Rouge region Alexandria, Lake Charles, we could be seeing rainfall into double digits. Even though it shows 8 inches on here, this could be conservative. We could be seeing some areas approaching a foot of rain through the end of January down in central Louisiana. But for Huntsville, looks like about 5 to 6 inches of rain through January 31st. So definitely some flooding issues down there. Sandy, thank you for the generous $20 donation. Everybody give a thumbs up to Sandy in the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Did you go to Mississippi State? No, I did not. But thank you for at least acknowledging that. I appreciate it. I did not go to Mississippi State, no. How about the Flint, Michigan area? I got to see exactly where Flint, Michigan is. I've heard of it, but I have not been through Michigan a lot. So, yeah, you're north and west of Detroit. So let's go back to the north here and look at that for ice and snow accumulation real quick. Sorry, folks, just trying to get this back to the ice and stuff like that. Let's look. All right, let's go back to the north here. And the Flint, Michigan area. I might have to go to the previous run from earlier there to get the full accumulations. Yeah, it looks like maybe a glaze of ice or so for Flint, Michigan. So a glaze of ice is likely for you. And it looks like probably some decent snow. Looks like 1 to 3 inches of snow. That's not the one we wanted. 1 to 3 inches of snow. So there you go. You're going to see predominantly more snow there in Flint, Michigan than ice. So you're going to see a glaze of ice potentially, and then we're going to see 1 to 3 inches worth of snow. So some decent snowfall there for that area as we go through your Wednesday time frame. Yeah, same thing, Carissa. Yep, yeah. There in Flint, Michigan, about 1 to 3 inches of snow and a glaze of ice will be possible. And again, folks, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. I can't stress that enough because we will be putting forecast videos out. If you guys have not seen my weather forecast, I recommend you go back and watch my morning forecast this morning, several hours ago, and then I had an afternoon update with a video on what you can expect all the way through the first half of February, okay? So we're talking about today's storm. We're talking about the cold side of it with the freezing rain, sleet, and snow, the warm side with the rain, severe weather, and the flash flooding threat. And then we're talking about the late January breakdown, and I break down the first half of February. My overall February forecast will be coming out as we go into the next few days, so be looking out for that. We'll have another video update tomorrow or two. We may have an afternoon update as well, potentially. So another reason to subscribe to the channel down below. Again, it really helps out more than you know. If you haven't liked the stream, make sure to like the stream down below. It helps more people join here to get their questions answered about how much rain, snow, freezing rain, ice, all that stuff that we can that they could be getting. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat, everybody. So yeah, tomorrow's forecast will be out at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we'll be putting that out there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then the afternoon update would come more likely between 1 p.m. and about 3 p.m., okay? If we have an afternoon update. That goes for most days, okay? 7 a.m. And then the afternoon update on most days, if I do an afternoon update, would be between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. And again, hitting that notification bell, turning it on, helps to get notified for my live streams, much like we're doing tonight, and also going ahead and forward into the next several days. So, what about Warren, Detroit area? I don't know what you're talking about the city, and it's called Warren, Michigan. Yeah, same thing there. We're talking 1 to 3 inches of snow there in Warren, Michigan, including the Detroit area. So 1 to 3 inches of snow. We could be seeing up to a half an inch of sleet too. So we have 1 to 3 inches of snow, up to a half an inch of sleet. And then looking at ice, we could be seeing a glaze to maybe a tenth of an inch of ice for that area. So a lot of different precipitation types there for the Warren, Michigan area. All right, let's see here. We're going to leave the poll open for a few more minutes here. We have over 400 votes. Vote on the poll real quick. What do you consider crippling ice? And we're going to end the poll here in just a couple of minutes here at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. And then I think we're going to wrap up the live stream thereafter. So make sure, if you haven't voted yet, vote on the poll real quick. And we'll go over the results there in just a minute here at the top of the hour. And then we'll wrap up today's live stream. So thank you guys for joining. Again, subscribe and like the live stream. I appreciate it. We only need 3 more subscribers, and then we'll be at 72,200 subscribers here. So we're making a good push, folks, to 75,000, and we're making a good push to 100,000. I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers by this spring sometime, or even the summer. So that would be great if we can do that and get to our goal for the warm season coming up. Thank you, Missy, for voting. Appreciate it. Yeah, a couple more minutes to vote here. We're going to, at 6 o'clock here in about 2 minutes, we're going to go over the results here in a second of what you guys think is a crippling ice storm. In my mind, anyway, a crippling ice storm would be probably over a half an inch of ice, in my opinion. But you guys could have different opinions, so that's why we have that poll up there. I just put Nightbot in the chat because people spam sometimes and, you know, put the same question over and over and over again, and Nightbot helps to kind of get rid of that spamming. But I can still see some of your comments. Like, I can still go through and see some of your comments on there. I'll have to fix it. I'm not sure why it's getting rid of some of those comments. I'll have to go back and look, but I appreciate you guys' patience with that. You subscribed a few weeks ago. Notifications are also on all the time. Thank you very much, Missy. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching as well, my videos and everything. I am in Kentucky, about 35 minutes from Louisville, and have to be out early morning. Should I worry? Well, which way 35 minutes are you from Louisville? Are you like north, south, west, east, around, back, forth? I don't know where you're at there, so you'll have to let me know. Yes, I am, Arnie. You can follow me. It should be in the description below. It's in the description below where it says social media. Just press the more button underneath the live stream, and you can see where it says social media in all caps. That's my Twitter or X account there. And I post weather updates on that as well. One more subscriber. We're looking at one more subscriber, and we'll be at 72,200. So we need one more person at least to subscribe before the stream is done. There we go. We got it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing here. That was our goal for the stream, to get to 72,200. So we did it. Susan voted. Thank you. All right, 6 o'clock. Your last chance to vote. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to vote. 1. I've been in tons of ice storms in California, or in Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and Texas. It's definitely about over a quarter inch to half an inch there. So yeah, you're probably in that ballpark. I say about, around a quarter of an inch, starting to get into that, hazardous to dangerous territory for an ice storm. I think a crippling ice storm is over half an inch in my opinion. So I agree. Melissa, thanks, Weather on the Go. I'm in Fort Wayne, and many video creators were vague on the estimated time of the storm. Yeah, it looks like tonight, overnight, especially after midnight there. And let's go over the timing here since we have this up, so I'm not just talking about it real quick. So here we go. There's Indiana there, and I'm going to go all the way back here through this evening. This is early evening. We're already starting to see some freezing rain freezing drizzle and sleet overspreading there, the Fort Wayne area, as we go into the evening hours. And then as we go deeper there into the night, we're talking, this is midnight here. This is midnight. We're starting to see a pretty nice shield of some freezing rain there, maybe even moderate rates of freezing rain going into the midnight time frame. And then going into your Tuesday morning commute, this is 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're still seeing some frozen precipitation there in Fort Wayne. This could be sleet, this could be freezing rain, or it could be a mixture of all three: snow, sleet, freezing rain, even some rain mixing in. So very messy commute there for your Tuesday morning commute there in Fort Wayne. And then going through the morning, again, we're just going to keep seeing some of that freezing rain. It should taper off slowly through the afternoon and evening, leaving behind a pretty decent area of icing across that region. And just showing you the Fort Wayne area there, yeah, we're talking at least a quarter of an inch of ice, possibly more in some of those areas. Like I said, isolated areas could see up to a half an inch of ice there. Eastern Illinois, northern Indiana, and far southern lower Michigan. Sleet, again, mostly north, and then the snowfall mostly north. So it's going to be mostly an ice threat there for the Fort Wayne area. Again, quarter of an inch of ice, maybe a little bit more is possible. And the timing for that is mainly tonight. Tuesday morning commute, very impacted, and then starting to see that precipitation lighten up and move out as you go deeper through the day on Tuesday into the afternoon, evening, and night time frame. So, yeah, my insulin pump is starting to beep at me, so that means that I need to go change my insulin. So that's what that beeping is. So let's end the poll here. We have 433 votes, and looks like what wins out here. What would you consider crippling ice? Most people, 35%, said a quarter to half an inch. 30% in second place is a glaze of ice. And third place at 21% is half an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Now that, in my opinion, would be what I would consider a crippling ice storm, would be half inch to 3/4. And then obviously a crippling ice storm too would be that 13% when people said more than 3/4 of an inch. So thank you everybody for voting. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for joining from Indiana, middle Indiana, central Indiana. Thanks for joining. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. Stay safe out there. If you have any more questions about the storm coming up, feel free after the live stream is over to ask your questions below. I'll be able to answer them in depth, in more detail. I'll be getting the answers as quickly as I can to you about that, whether it's about snow, sleet, freezing rain, temperatures, anything weather related. I'll be able to answer your question down below in the live stream after it's over. And if you have any other questions and you want to see a visual of what you can expect for weather, head over to my weather page on Weather on the Go on YouTube, like you are on now, and watch my YouTube videos from this morning and also the afternoon update here from the afternoon. I will have another weather forecast video out tomorrow for sure at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I will have an afternoon update potentially during the afternoon between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, so be looking out for that if I do an afternoon update. But for sure, we'll be doing a morning video tomorrow at 7 o'clock, so make sure you're looking for that. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. Hope everybody has a safe rest of their Monday evening and Monday night. Again, stay safe out on those roadways. Make sure to take it slow. Leave plenty of time to get to your destination tomorrow, to stay safe out there. Remember, there's other drivers on the roadways as well, not just you, so make sure to stay safe out there. All right. Have a great rest of your Monday, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody. See you later, everybody.